Hey guys, Luton here, back for more from the Eurogamer Expo in London. So today it's going to be a bit of a shorter video than before, or I think so anyway, just to cover my time on the second day of the show when I was there. Now I returned to play much more Battlefield 4 as well as getting hands-on with Titanfall and plenty of the other games around the show. Now also yet again, thanks to Jack Frags for this footage of Paracel Storm. I'll be very glad this week to be getting my own footage from the beta so we can get new footage up regularly and not rely anymore on recycled footage, but thanks again to Jack for that. So I got to play Battlefield 4 several more times this week, and I was testing it out on Conquest. I also spent a good deal of time speaking with DICE staff who had travelled over from Sweden to supervise the Battlefield setup at the show, so a little bit of networking, finding out some details there. So let's get down to it. What else did I experience in the game, and what can you expect coming up? Well, first and most importantly, I wanted to talk a little bit about the cover system, and this is something that you guys have been asking me about a ton. How does it work? What is it all about? Okay, so here's how it works. Now, the cover system is a new mechanic that enables you to pop up from cover and fire without actually having to go through the process of literally keying a stance change. Now, it operates much like the cover system from Far Cry 3 if you've seen that. So for example, say you see a ledge or a stack of boxes or some destroyed rubble, and you run over to it and put yourself in a crouched position. Now with the cover system, in order to peek up, enabling you to look over that object, all you need to do is use your ADS or aim down sights, and as soon as you click this, your character will pop up and you can fire. You hold it, he'll pop up, and when you release the ADS key, you'll return back to your previous crouched position. So it's literally like ADS up and back down. It's really smooth, really intuitive, and what the cover system enables you to do is just move safely to cover and engage enemy from fire by simply using ADS, and it's just simplified the way in which you take cover and return fire. Of course, there's nothing stopping you from manually standing up should you wish to do so. You can still do that, but this cover system just makes gameplay more fluid than it has been more previously, and that's a pretty good example of the changes that have been made in Battlefield 4. Lots of small changes that amount to a big overall improvement in the gameplay dynamic, giving you a richer, smoother Battlefield experience. Now, I have said many times before that trying to find the balance between creating a sequel in a franchise that's new and interesting while staying true to the core values of the series is a horrible double-edged sword for developers, and there's been plenty of devs who I've spoken to who agree with me about this. Trying to please people who want tons of new content but then appease those who don't want to see the game simply carbon copied with a few skin changes, it's tricky for them to do, to try and figure out how much to change, how much to keep the same, what new things to bring in. Is it going to break the game? Is it going to take away? If you have a successful franchise, you didn't want to piss off the people in that already. So it's a really difficult thing. Now, I personally believe that they have got it as close to right as you could want to with Battlefield 4. Massive new events for each map with Revolution, whilst keeping the core game true and improving small but highly important ways, and simultaneously responding to community feedback strongly. They've put into place a lot of things that people wanted. Now, you can never please everyone all of the time, and I'm certain there'll be plenty of detractors and whiners as the game moves towards release, but I hope and expect that these people will be vastly outnumbered by the large majority of the community who will see and understand the game for what it is, which is a sympathetic, exciting and immersive experience which will give people amazing gameplay for years to come. So back to the gameplay and details. So one of the other big questions people have been asking me about is the bombs from jets. Are they guided or dumb, meaning they just fall from release from the pilot? Now, whilst the map we played did not give us the opportunity to test this out, I spoke to a DICE staff member at the event, and he asserted to me that he was not 100% confirmed, but he believes that they were guided, meaning the pilot is required to assign and keep a locked position in order to deliver that payload. Now, netcode is also another thing you guys have been asking me about, and it does feel genuinely improved. Like I've said, it does feel improved. I drove multiple different vehicles around on 311, and I never had weird object encounters, or when we had vehicles, for example, in close proximity, they behaved as you would expect, and they didn't sort of rubber band all over the place as it happens in Battlefield 3, so that's really good to see. And as I say, they have said that they've improved that netcode. We've seen it as well with the boats when they crashed, my little clip that I posted, and you could see there that they went sort of straight into one another as opposed to kind of weirdly bouncing around all over the place. Also, I want to mention here about going prone near to objects. Now, as you'll be aware in Battlefield 3, going prone in corners of a building or near any object would allow your player to basically cut their legs into the object, meaning you could conceal yourself arguably unfairly to the enemy. Now in Battlefield 4, as we know, this has changed, and I experienced this for myself multiple times. What happens is that if you go prone and try to push back against an object, it's not a hard resist. It feels fluid, and if you push back on an object, it will slowly push you away, preventing you as a player from concealing yourself in places where you realistically couldn't. So I'm sure this is going to make many people happy. It will me, especially when you're trying to capture an objective. It means you have a better chance of spotting your enemy who are lying in wait. It's definitely going to be a bit of a change to the gameplay. Now overall, I had an amazing time playing Battlefield 4 at the Expo, as you would expect, and the exclusive beta is now only days away, with the full public beta coming out on the 4th for everyone else. Now I'll be releasing at least one video a day during the beta period, and potentially more depending on what topics I find to be important. If you have any topics you want me to address and talk about, or if you find out something technically important during the beta, please send me a message via YouTube or my Twitter account at Lutin09. Now lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about the game that everybody's talking about. It is of course Titanfall. Now I didn't mind telling you that despite all the hype that's been bandied around since Gamescom, I've been very cynical, as I often am, about the game. So you say, yeah, I was cynical about this, and yeah, I know I often am about these kind of things, but here's the thing, okay, from everything I'd seen and heard, Titanfall, it just seemed to me to be a Crisis 3 knockoff. And now I'm sorry, but it's just how it seemed. And when I spoke to people actually there, they were like, yeah, you're right, it does kind of seem to be that way. However, okay, I was very tentative about giving it too much praise so early on. But I want to say that after I had my hands-on experience with it, and with the full round in Titanfall, I was impressed. But then again, I was very impressed with Crisis 3, and that's the key with where I'm going with this. There has been massive praise lauded with Titanfall, and rightly so. It's a fantastic, fluid, fast shooter, which makes you, as a player, feel like you're right in the thick of it. It looks amazing, it plays fast and furious, and you really do feel like a futuristic super soldier. It's got a fantastic free running feature, which allows you to literally run up along the walls of buildings. It's amazing, and bringing down your titans to engage in mech death battles, it's no doubt an appealing feature. The round I played in was fantastic. I was dropping targets left and right, and it definitely has a more arcade feel to the weapons, as they had almost no recoil whatsoever, and this I'm sure was designed to increase the speed and intensity of the gameplay, which Titanfall's got in spades. Now the game does not release until the spring of 2014, so we have plenty of time to discuss, debate and assess between now and then. However, the large hanging question mark for me is, does this game have the potential for longevity? Now Crisis 3 had a lot of excitement around its release, but its multiplayer was not supported strongly by the community for a number of different reasons. Now Titanfall has got big potential, but is it a strong enough contender to go against the pre-established titans of the FPS genre? Time will tell. As I say, I enjoy the game. I'm still mildly cynical about it, but I had a really good time with it, and we all came away like, oh man, that was so much fun. It was a lot of fun, but was it fun because it was that kind of initial excitement you get whenever you play any new game? You're kind of like, oh man, that was so cool. But if you play it out like 20, 30, 40, 50 times, is it as much fun? Do you, I am concerned that potentially the gameplay could become repetitive. So it's got a big question mark there, but people are very excited about it. A lot of people are talking about it. If you had experience at Titanfall at the Eurogamer Expo, or if you were at Gamescom and you played it as well, put your thoughts in the notes below about Titanfall. What do you think about it? What do you think the future holds for it? Now last and least, okay, I want to talk extremely briefly about the Xbox One. Now Battlefield 4 was played for the first time on Xbox One at Eurogamer, and so we got a chance to look at how the game may appear for next generation console users. The gameplay was extremely smooth, okay, it was playing at 60 FPS, the graphics were excellent. I've heard a lot of talk this week about Battlefield 4, unsurprisingly, on the next gen playing at what you could be expected as medium settings on a PC. Now, you guys know I'm not an Xbox fan, and you know I own a PS3 and a PC. But I gotta tell you, there is no way the graphics could be considered medium, okay? They're fantastic, they're immersive, they're seriously, at no point whatsoever did I think to myself, holy crap, this looks awful. Okay, it looks excellent. And if you really want to split hairs about how important it is that the game looks slightly better on a PC, feel free to indulge that in your own time. But if you're an Xbox user, one thing that I would say to you is, whilst I do not own an Xbox, I have used the controllers plenty of times before with friends, and also when I visited studios to test out games, or events like Eurogamer where we played the games with the Xbox controllers provided. Now, you may also recall that I have actually said, when I was talking about the new consoles and stuff way back when they were shown at E3 and stuff, and we saw the controllers, and I said that I think the Xbox controller it was one of the redeeming features of the system. I actually find it preferable to PS controllers as well, the 360 one. I actually prefer it to the PS, just because of the way it's set up. Now, that aside, I want to tell Xbox users, this is not a hating scare tactic, okay, seriously. But just my own personal opinion, I played on both Xbox One controllers and the 360 controllers at Eurogamer. And I've got to tell you, I was surprised to find that the 360 controller for me felt more comfortable, and most importantly, the sticks, this is really important, the sticks felt more intuitive and easier for fine control than those on the Xbox One controller. Now, this could just be my own personal preference, but there's nothing that could really be done about this anyway. But I just wanted to put it down and say that I think the new controllers, I originally thought they looked a fantastic redesign. They may not actually be. So if you're an Xbox user, try it out for yourself. Also, if you're an Xbox user and you're at Eurogamer, tell me what you think. Did you like the new controllers, or when you stacked up? I played around the Battlefield 4 on the Xbox One controller. I then went round and played on Titanfall. I came away and I was like, wow, that was so much more. I could just control so much better with that controller. So really, if you're an Xbox user, as I say, let me know what you think. It may be that, guys, if like I said, there's nothing you can do to change the design, but you may want to get some sort of stick cover or adapter to ensure that you get the best play from your controller setup. There's a number of different things you can get. I'm sure when they release, you'll be able to get this, and this applies to PlayStation users as well. If you're regularly using a controller, there's various little adapters and stuff that you can get for the sticks, and it just allows you to be more comfortable with your play. It's always worth sort of fine-tuning and trying to find what works out best for you. Okay guys, that's my breakdown of my time with the FPS titles at Eurogamer. I'll have a short overview of other titles that I got to play coming up probably tomorrow, and that'll go on to Looting Gaming. Thanks for watching, and remember, the beta is coming out this week. I will have a ton of content, as will all other Battlefield producers. I have one small favour to ask of you, my subscribers, and that is for this week. Please actively share and rate my videos, as it's going to be a really busy time. Your support and help and efforts continue to help me to grow and improve the channel. I appreciate you guys for all your continued support. Much more content coming up this week, guys. I'm very excited for the beta and creating content during this week. Keep it here, keep it Battlefield 4. I'll see you next time.